What's up? It's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my May wrap up. So we got the handy dandy Stitch mug. As y'all know, I do my wrap-ups in the reread, rewrite, burn tag fashion. So basically I have all the books I read on little slips of paper in this Stitch mug, and I pull them 3 at a time, and then I say whether I would reread, rewrite, or burn them, and then I'd have my little spiel on each book. And okay, I always start my wrap-ups with stats for the month. Also, I'm standing today, kind of weird, kind of quirky. Wanted to make sure I had natural lighting and I'm visible, you know. It's really freaking hot. Like, I can't turn my AC on though because it's loud. There is a heat wave in Illinois right now. It is 99 degrees, feels like 105 type shit. This tank top has been annoying me. You could see my bra, like, it's a whole thing. Stats, May 2022. So I read 18 books in May. Beautiful, love that for me. I had such a good AAPI Heritage Month, reading-wise. I mean, in general, May was okay. I did get COVID at the end there, though, and that's where I got a lot of reading done. Oh, I didn't calculate my number of pages. Sorry. I don't feel like it this month. Maybe next month. Best book of the month was Almond. All right, I'll have the picture right here. I read this book on my Kindle. I gave it 4 stars. I haven't had a 5-star book since April 25th, which was Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. It's crazy. I don't remember the last time I went this long without a 5-star book. So yeah, it was really hard to pick a best book of the month because there weren't any 5 stars. You know, I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. I just decided to pick it up because I haven't used my Kindle in a while. It's by an Asian author, and it was like going around everywhere because of that BTS guy loving this book. And it was super short, and the chapters were extra short. I had no idea what it was about. My friend Renee from Reading with Renee was reading it, and she said it was good. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll get a little emotional. Maybe it'll just take me like a day to read. And it took me like 1 to 2 days. It was so good. It's about this kid who can't express emotions, can't really feel emotions. I forgot what the disorder is called. So it's just him navigating that situation, and then 2 of his very close family members go through this like tragic incident and he feels nothing, okay? And then so he gets bullied at school for it, and then he meets this one friend. He always gets people being like, oh, can you feel this? How about this? How about that? Like, it just talks about all the things he had to deal with this condition. And yes, it was really sad, and it was intense too at times. I think I laughed a couple times. There was this one butterfly scene that really hit me hard. Just read it. It goes by super quickly. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Worst book of the month was Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Sandra Kaw. I read this in my horror novellas reading vlog. I don't know, I just randomly decided to pick up a bunch of horror novellas and manga in May. I didn't hate it as much as like some of my friends did, like Jessie and McKay I know hated it. I gave this one 2 stars though, just because Jessie and all of them gave it 1 star, I believe. I remember when it got all the hype last year because the cover is so creepy. It was supposed to be this like super unsettling horror novella about this like creepy house in Japan and everything, and everyone knows Japanese horror where it's like extra scary type shit. But yeah, this is not it. These people go to this Japanese mansion thing for a wedding. Honestly, such a forgettable story. I know the creature on the cover did appear once or twice. They just literally described how it looks on the cover and that's it. But I read it in like 1 sitting. It's super short. It's like 100-something pages. The writing was very frivolous and like unnecessarily flowery. Like, this is one of those, like I said in my vlog, I'll have my horror novellas vlog linked down below. It's one of those where you know the author was sitting there with a thesaurus writing this book. That's that on that. Number of Chicago appearances, only 2 out of 18. That's wild. If you're new here, I live like 30 minutes from Chicago. I grew up around here. I have this personal vendetta against the damn city, okay? I hate going there. It gives me anxiety. Love the music scene, and I like the Cubs. It always haunts me. It always shows up. Shows, movies, I kept noticing it. Now it's the word flesh. Like, do I keep track of how many times the word flesh comes up? Because ever since, like I said prior to this video, this book, A Certain Hunger, ever since I read this, the word flesh has been everywhere. Every single book, like, not exaggerating. Every single one. And I've read a lot of books since A Certain Hunger, let me tell y'all. Anyway, number of BIPOC authors I read were 11 out of 18, which is pretty good. Which is not surprising either because it was AAPI month and I made it a point to read a lot of Asian authors as much as I could. Books left on TBR. This is the best stat ever. 5 out of 15 were left on, which means I read 10. I read 10 books out of my TBR. And if I stuck to my 10 books only TBR, I would have read the whole thing. But My dumbass made it 15, but I was so proud of myself. I did not read a classic this month. The nonfiction I read was Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. It was my beginning of the year goal to read one nonfiction a month, and I've been keeping up with that. I gave this 3 stars. This is a memoir about Michelle Zauner and her dealing with her mom's sickness and death, and then she talks a little bit about music. She talks a lot about food. A subscriber named Danny sent me this, so thank you so much. I didn't know that Michelle Zauner was in a band called Japanese Breakfast until I like posted about this book and people were telling me about it. But yeah, I didn't cry. I didn't shed a single tear. Everyone hyped this book up for me like it was gonna be this heart-wrenching thing, and it is sad. Like, not to be disrespectful, you know, it is really sad. Like, it's her fucking mom and she had to deal with it and like help her dad go through it too. So it is a really sad part of her life, but it didn't hit as much as I thought it would. I know, like, I feel weird giving a nonfiction anything but 5 stars because it is their lives, but like, I rate solely on enjoyment. Take that as you will, I guess. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but I mean, I had a good time reading it because I was able to relate to a lot of the Asian culture stuff that she was talking about, like Asian stereotypes and how parents treat their kids and little quirky things that Asian parents do. Like, my mom used to squeeze my nose to make it less flat when I was younger, and she said her mom did the same thing. Yeah, so little things like that I did enjoy, but that's my spiel on Crying in H Mart. I'm too lazy to put her back, so she's staying as a face out for now. I did not participate in the Buzzwordathon this month. I did read a book over 500 pages, and that was No Longer Human by Junji Ito. It's a manga, so it went by really fast. This is not an original work by Junji Ito. He turned a novel into a manga, but like, obviously the illustrations and shit were originally by him. Why did I explain that? I don't know. I gave No Longer Human 4 stars. I would look up the trigger warnings before going into this book. There's a lot of rape, misogyny, there's cheating in this. Yeah, just tread with caution with that one. Even the manga version was intense. I mentioned her before, but Renee has read the whole novel for No Longer Human, and she said the same thing. Like, there were a lot of content warnings. Okay, those are my stats, so let's do the damn thing, shall we? This is so weird standing up. I don't think I've ever filmed a wrap-up standing up. We have Crying in H Mart, Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and hold on, let me grab this. And we have Siren Queen. I think I would reread Siren Queen. I feel like I just didn't grasp everything the first time. So this is set in pre-code Hollywood. It's sapphic. I read it for Sapphic-a-thon. Well, Sapphic-a-thon was canceled, but I still read it that weekend. I'll link my COVID vlog down below because that's when I read this. I did like certain elements of it, like you never know the main character's real name. So that was a cool thing about this book. I'm starting to realize more and more that I don't really like books set in Hollywood or books about celebrities. Like Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six really like threw me off on that one. This had a mix of like fantastical elements as well, but this author in particular does this thing where like you never know what's reality and what's not. And like my friend Tammy from Tammy Tries to Read said that's a known thing for this author. So I was confused a lot of the time, but it is really short and I would reread it because it does have really good social commentary about, you know, being Asian in America and how you're treated, and then some feminist things too. And the cover is just everything. If you haven't seen my cover recreation of this, not to toot my own horn, but it was pretty spot on, not gonna lie. Okay, I'm not gonna rewrite Crying in H Mart because I'm not gonna rewrite someone's life, so I guess I'd have to burn it. I hate talking about nonfiction like this. I've read much better memoirs, much more enjoyable memoirs. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna burn Crying in H Mart. Oh, I gave Siren Queen 3 stars, by the way. And then Nothing But Blackened Teeth I would rewrite, like re-edit it, get rid of that whole thesaurus thing going on that this author did, and just reword a bunch of things. Like there was this one part where the author literally could have just said brain, but she chose to say like cerebral something, and I was just like, really? Just say brain. Just say brain. Moving on. So we have 4 Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Cusatanto, which I got from the library. No Longer Human by Junji Ito and whoever the original author was, I'm so sorry. And then Lore Olympus. I don't know the author of that one either. I think I would burn No Longer Human. I did give it 4 stars like I said, but if I do want to re-experience this story, I would just read the full novel. But this was not my favorite Junji Ito by any means. It just took me longer than how long it takes for me with manga usually. aunties. I gave it 4 stars because it was well done, well written, well executed in manga form. I feel like there were a lot of good parts to the story that resonated with me. Don't ask me what exactly happened because I don't know, so clearly they didn't really resonate with me. But at the time, I was like, damn, I felt that. I would reread Lore Olympus because the art style is beautiful. I didn't care for the story itself too much. I really just enjoyed the experience of flipping through and seeing all the art because it's beautifully crafted. It's a graphic novel based on Greek mythology, and they're just little, like, not vignettes, but I guess like little vignettes. Each chapter is like a different little scene. It was really cute, and the second volume comes out next month, so I would honestly reread this before going into the second one. Maybe, probably not, but I gave this one 4 stars as well. And then For Aunties and a Wedding, Rewrite is the one that's left. I think I gave this one 4 stars too. Yep, it was just the month of a bunch of 4 stars for me. But this is the sequel to Dial A for Aunties. This one is about our main character getting married. Her aunties get into situations again, and it's hilarious. There's this whole like twist to it that would be a spoiler if I mentioned, so there's this twist that makes the whole plot a thing. There are more dead bodies to hide involved. Just the way the aunties interact with the fiance, I think his name's Nate or Nathan or something. His family's British, and the aunties like put on British accents, and they put on this whole act just to like make them feel welcome and fit in, and it's hilarious. It's such a good family dynamic, and the humor in both of them, in Dial A for Aunt, Jesse Q. Sutanto writes really good humor. It's like that cheesy that's almost too much, but like it's right there, and I appreciate it. Wait, did I say I would rewrite it? How would I rewrite this? There were some parts that dragged on a little too much, like certain scenes involving this spoilery thing. If you know, you know. I don't know, I haven't heard anyone else talk about this book, but there's this thing that makes it what it is, and those scenes were a little bit too dragged out sometimes, so I would just cut that down a little bit, rewrite it. Lordy, that was rough. Oh wow, so it's 18, so we're gonna do 6 full rounds of this. Love that for me. So we have Count Your Lucky Stars by Alexandria Bellfleur, Desperate Measures by Katie Robert, and Then I Woke Up by Malcolm Devlin, which I got from the library. I read a lot of library books this month. I would reread Desperate Measures. I gave this 4 stars as well. This was my book club pick for the month of May. Sarah was my guest. It was such a fun discussion because this is a Disney smutty retelling about Jasmine and Jafar. The romance in this was just impeccable. Like, I enjoyed the romance more than the sex scenes. Like, the way Jafar and Jasmine just understood each other, and like their internal dialogue. Katie Robert does internal dialogue really well, and I was just squealing left and right. Every page I had something to say. I feel like I'm glad I chose it for my book club, so I would definitely reread this. This made me want to read the entire series, the Wicked Villain series. I was so happy because I feel like a lot of people enjoyed this one too. A lot of people like branched out of their comfort zone to read this for my book club, so that made me really happy. I freaking love y'all. We just like isolated the shit out of this book. We had a really good discussion, so I'll link that live show down below. I'll link my dedicated reading vlog to this down below. I'll link every vlog that I did in May down below, okay? How about that? I would rewrite Count Your Lucky Stars, but I just like, I don't want to burn it. That's the thing. So this one I also gave 4 stars. It's the 3rd book in the Written in the Stars. I think it's a trilogy. I don't know, but this one was my favorite one out of the 3. This one was sapphic. It was super quick to read. It was such a cute story. There were a lot of things going on with like friendships, and obviously the sapphic relationship, and like exes, and then, oh, it's 7:30. Gotta take my birth control, pause. Okay, what was I saying? Count Your Lucky Stars. Dude, really? What is happening? Can people leave me alone? I'm filming. I'm filming! Oh my god! I'm putting this on silent. Count Your Lucky Stars. I would rewrite. How would I rewrite? I know I keep saying this, but I feel like it was just a smidge too long. I just can't remember any scenes that I would cut down. Oh, there was also kind of the miscommunication trope at one point, which I hate, so I would rewrite that. Otherwise, I really enjoyed this. There's a second chance romance, favorite romance trope. There's forced proximity, also favorite romance trope. These women who like had a thing in high school for like a week. There was like a whole falling out, and then one of them needed a place to stay, so then the other one lets her be her new roommate. There are these funny scenes involving the cat and like vibrators. And the friends are hilarious too. It was a really well-rounded story in my opinion. But yeah, just those things I would rewrite because I would burn and then I woke up. This one was one of my most anticipated releases. I don't remember which month it was, but I'll have that link down below. This was one of the horror novellas I read for that vlog. It's funny that it's not funny at all, but it's funny that I read this the day before I tested positive for COVID because it's a huge nod to just the pandemic and how media uses scare tactics to like scare the general public and like exaggerate certain things. They made the plague like a thing that turns humans into monsters in this novella, and I was just expecting a lot more. It takes place in this like rehab facility thing. Once more people started turning into monsters, then that's when the story kind of picked up, but honestly I don't remember much about this story, and I'm glad it was a novella and that it didn't take me too long to get through. So I would burn this. I gave this one 3 stars. I don't know why I gave it 3 stars and not 2, but I guess I liked it at some point. Again, very forgettable. Moving on. It's so hot, I'm sweating. You've Lost a Lot of Blood. Here it is. You've Lost a Lot of Blood. His and Hers by Alice Feeney. And then we have Frankenstein by Junji Ito. Again, only one of these is a book I own. The other ones were library books. You've Lost a Lot of Blood, I would reread for sure. Absolutely love this. This is the same author as Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, if you couldn't tell from the cover alone. But Eric LaRocca writes such good horror. I almost said humor. If you like Black Mirror, definitely pick this up. It won't take you long to read at all. It has really good like little tidbits too, like random good lines, like good writing, good quotes, and there are like 3 storylines going on. It's just such a complex little novella. Also read this for my horror novellas vlog and I had such a good time. I almost gave this 5 stars, but then there was this one part where things got a little too technology heavy for my brain to comprehend. There were like clones and stuff, and that part I was just like, huh? But yeah, so that's why I gave it 4 stars, but I would definitely reread this for sure. For sure. Absolutely loved. I would burn His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Y'all know I love Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, so I'm like getting through her backlist right now. I've also read Sometimes I Lie. I like this one better than Sometimes I Lie, but the ending was just so predictable, and I wasn't a big fan of the characters. It was about this detective who was a suspect for the case that was going around town, and then this other girl was his ex-wife. She was a journalist, so they were trying to figure this case out together, kind of, but also separately. They had all this banter, and not even banter, it was just like, I don't know. But I gave His and Hers 3 stars because the ending just killed it for me. I was enjoying my time because it had really short chapters and I wanted to know what happened and everything. But then there was this one twist that made the ending so predictable, and I was just like, why? Why is this the way? But I did like the ending because there's this trope that I really like that happened towards the end between the 2 characters, so I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything phenomenal, and I hate when I guess the twist. It's like a subtle flex, but like you also don't want it to happen, you know? Like I love being wrong when I try to predict a twist. That means I would rewrite Frankenstein by Junji Ito. I don't know how, because again, that's a manga. That's a horror manga. It was a story collection, and the first one was Frankenstein, like by Mary Shelley, but like in Junji Ito format. That was pretty cool. I guess I would just like omit a story or 2 because some of those stories just didn't do it for me at all, or just like put more Junji Ito fucked up horror throughout, because I feel like this one lacked that compared to his other story collections. I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite Junji Ito. I'm almost done with his backlist though, which is really sad. All right, next 3. Oh my god. Woman Eating by Claire Coda. Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. I don't know how to say it, but I've heard it said both ways. Wow, 3 books I actually own. Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis. All right. I would burn the fuck out of Woman Eating. I am so sorry. This was one of my highly anticipated. This was my first giveaway. This Harper Villa sent me this like for a giveaway situation, and I was so excited. Vampires meets hot girl books, whatever that means. That whole trend going on where like you're that girl, you know, when you read like My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and this one is that meets vampires, and I was so fucking excited because I was like, oh, it's vampires, but like make it Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan, right? But also meets like some fucked up bloody shit. No, it wasn't. There were some notable quotes, yes, about finding yourself and like proving your worth to people who care about you, in this case her mom. I feel like she's that type of character character that was always trying to prove herself to her mom. So like there were a lot of relatable quotes, but also it wasn't intense enough for me. That's what I figured out when I was trying to explain how I felt about this book in the vlog that I read this. I was highly disappointed. I gave this 2 stars and I'm really sad about it and I don't want to talk about it anymore, so there's that. I would burn it. I would reread Cleopatra and Frankenstein. This is another one of those like literary fiction that girl books. It's hilarious. I read this for Noelle 7 Pages book club, her hot girl book club. Oh, go figure. It's one of those hot girl books. Yep. And this is about a girl named Cleo and a guy named Frank. And Cleo is like 25 or something and Frank is in his 40s and they fall in love, and this is their story about how fucked up a marriage can be, how good it can be sometimes too. Look up content warnings for this as well. There's parental abuse, there's domestic abuse, self-harm, there's suicide. There's a lot going on, but there's also humor in this, especially towards the beginning. And it's basically, as Noelle and Sid put it, it's a character study. There are so many relatable parts about like relationships, dealing with certain things and feelings. There are so many characters that have so many layers, and the author explores each person's life and unique storyline very well, in my opinion. And they all have their own unique voices. Noelle and I had a really good discussion about this book, so I will link that live show down below. So yeah, I gave this one 4 stars and I would reread it eventually. Not anytime soon though. And then I would rewrite Where Dreams Descend to just like somehow grip me faster, because it took me about 100-something pages to actually understand what's going on, to get into the story, to feel connected to the characters, all that. I binged the last like 300 pages of this book with the audiobook, yes, because it was due that day and I was like, oh, 10 hours, let me just fly through real quick. And I had COVID, so I was like, what else am I gonna do, right? And I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. This was the last book I read in May. I said I was gonna go right into the sequel. I lied, okay. The audiobook expired. It went back to the library, so whenever I get that back, I will go into the sequel, which is still not too long in between books, because I usually wait like at least a year to continue a series. I mean, people who know me know that about me. So yeah, just a couple weeks in between the books, that is a miracle, let me tell you. But yeah, I really liked how much of a bad bitch Kalia is. This is a YA fantasy, by the way, and it's a Filipino author, so that's cool. And I really liked the motives behind characters and reasonings behind certain characters' actions. My favorite character was, I always forget his first name. Is it Damon DeMarco? I don't know, he's known as DeMarco, but I really liked him because he was our little cinnamon roll of a character. Love him. I'm excited to see where the second one takes the story. Did I say what I would do with that one? Oh, I would rewrite it. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I've been filming for way too long. All right, the last 3, we have Almond, and then Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, and then Homicide and Halo Halo. All 3 of these were either on my Kindle or library books. So Almond, I would obviously reread. Love that one. It was my best book of the month, like I said. Don't have to talk about that one again. Damn, which one would I burn? Fuck, I liked both of these. Okay, I would probably rewrite Only a Monster. I gave this one 4 stars. I would rewrite it. I think there was a part at the end that was a little bit confusing. I think the epilogue was confusing for me, like where these characters ended up. I'm not really sure. I would also delineate the different time periods that they were in a little bit better. This is a YA fantasy and each family is marked by what kind of monster they are. So like they all have their own unique powers, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I really enjoyed the time traveling aspect of this book, which is rare for me to say. I usually don't gravitate towards time travel books, but this one was done really well. They take months or years or just time in general from humans in order for them to travel that far back. Yeah, I think they only traveled backwards. I thought that was a cool concept, and then the fact that each family had their own types of powers and they were their own type of monsters, you know? Yeah, I would rewrite that. I would burn Homicide and Halo Halo, although I did give this 4 stars and I did enjoy it more than Arsenic and Adobo. This is the sequel, also by a Filipino author. I liked that this one had deeper issues attached to the cozy mystery element of it. It talks about mental health and family expectations and things like that. So I really enjoyed that, but I guess I would burn it because, I don't know, I probably wouldn't reread either one, Arsenic and Adobo or this one. I feel like cozy mysteries, it's kind of a one and done type of thing. There was this whole like pageant thing that I wasn't a fan of, but I know like that's a big thing in the Philippines, so that's why it's included. I'm just burning this because I kind of have to. Otherwise, I would rewrite it and take the pageant scene out, but alas. All right, that is that. If you made it to the end of this video, let's put the ice cream emoji in the comments down below because it's hot as fuck, and that's close enough to what a halo halo is. Because if y'all didn't know, it's like this ice cream treat, this Filipino ice cream treat. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe and stay positive always, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye.